Windrock Mountain.
She did. Okay. You got some pictures back here on the back of your house of your grandparents. Can you tell me what their names was?
The one over there on the left now is Nancy was her name, and Bill was his name.
That was Lively.
Nancy and Bill Lively.
Okay.
And the other over here on the right was Melindy Braden and Horn Braden.
Okay. And you said you and your brothers and sisters go live with them, your grandparents, when your mama died?
Yeah, when she died, we lived with Grandpa Lively and Grandma Lively, Nan and Bill.
Okay. When your mother died, where were you all living at that time?
We lived there on top of Windrock.
Oh, did you? So your daddy was working in the mines?
Yeah, he was already working in the mine.
Okay. How many brothers and sisters do you have? Can you tell me their names?
Yeah, buddy, you might not want to know all of them though, but I had whole sisters, half sisters, and stepsister. One stepsister.
Well, you just tell me who, as many of them as you can remember.
Yeah, well, my whole sisters, there was three of us, and my two sisters was Mamie and Hazel was their name.
Mamie?
Mamie
All right.
and Hazel.
Okay.
And then my half sisters was Edna and Pearl, Joyce, Pat, and Lola. And then I had one brother there, was Roy. And our brother was Wayne, made two brothers.
Okay, Roy and Wayne.
Roy and Wayne.
Who was the oldest?
Of the
Of all of
half sisters, Edna was the oldest. And my whole sisters, Hazel was the oldest.
So, Pearl Lively?
Pearl, she married Harold West.
Harold West, exactly right. And that was your half sister.
Yeah, she was the half sister.
Okay, let's go back to Mamie. Mamie was a full sister.
She's full sister, that's her right there.
Now, she married a Vickery.
She married Earl Vickery.
Earl Vickery. There you go. All right, that's good. Did you go to school up on Windrock?
Yeah, that's the only place I ever went to school.
How far did you go?
I hate to say this on camera here, but I went to the third grade.
That's
before
good.
I forgot.
That's good. Was there a schoolhouse up on the top of the mountain?
Yes.
And you went to the third grade.
Yeah. That's good. It had it's just one room and had a big curtain. They draw through the middle of it to make it two rooms.
Uh-huh.
And I just go 1 year, and next year out, they didn't have no truancy about it that day.
You didn't stay in trouble, did you?
No, nobody didn't say nothing about it. Bob did, and he was hunting with us and everything else.
Did you and your family come down to Oliver Springs very much?
Yeah, my daddy used to walk down there with me and walk me down there. Of course, we didn't have no automobiles and nothing up there. You had to walk from the top of the mountain all the way to Oliver Springs. But if you come off, you had to walk down because the man car come down real early in the morning.
Uh-huh.
You could come down on it, but then you had to wait till evening before you could go back up on it. So we'd walk up and down the mountain all the time. You know.
What did you come to Oliver Springs for? Did you buy something at the store?
Just for excitement, like you might want to go to town somewhere, you know.
Yes, we go to the movie.
Did you ever go to the movie in Oliver Springs?
Yeah. Back in that day, they had the movie right where Doherty's Garage, where the Historical Society is.
Yeah.
That's where the theater was back then. And then they moved it on the corner down here in town where it was at the last time.
Do you by any chance remember what a movie would cost you back in them days?
Yeah. We would go to Herman every once in a while after they got up in the upper 30s there when we got automobile. We go to Harriman all the time down there, and they had 2 theaters. The Princess was 25 cents, and the the other one, I forget the name of it now, it was 15 cents. So we took the 15-cent one on.
Do you remember what you paid in Oliver Springs? Was it a quarter in Oliver Springs to see a movie?
In August, and there was no charge to my members there. It was in Darty's garage out there at that
Do you
time.
by any chance remember any movies that you saw?
No, the biggest thing that hits my mind now is when we was drafted in the Army,
Yeah.
and I'd been married about a year, I guess, and I had went to Georgia for examination, you know.
Yeah.
And when I come back, I met my wife and the girl over there, one of them two, there at that theater. They was to meet me there, and that's where I met them in that movie there. But I don't even remember what was on in there.
Well, let me ask you, when y'all worked on Windrock and your daddy was a miner, did y'all have a garden, or did you have any cows or pigs or anything?
No, we really didn't. I know he had a garden, but I don't remember just where it was at. But he always did. And people had cows running out up there in that day and everything, but I don't think we had a cow.
Do you remember when y'all got your first car? Was y'all living up on Windrock when you got your first car?
No, I lived up there until I was about 10-year-old. We moved from there down what's called Cotan, just before you get to Windrock Camp. That's Cotan. That was Cotan. My daddy, that was a mining camp before Windrock started. That's what they built the railroad up there for.
Uh-huh.
But they had closed that down and went to Windrock. And we moved down there. He built a log house. And we lived there until I was 16-year-old. And back in that day, when the miners' boys become 16-year-old, they automatically had a job at Windrock. So when I become 16-year-old, I went to work at Windrock,
Uh-huh.
loading coal in the coal mine.
How old was you when you got married?
I was, I believe it was right at 20-year-old.
20 years old. Now, how many kids did you and your wife have?
We had 6.
Tell me their names.
Well, it's Patricia and Connie was the 2 girls. And then the boys was David and Gary and Larry was the twins, and Randall. 4 boys was Randall and Larry and Gary and David.
So you had 6 kids.
6.
Did y'all go to church up on Windrock? Was there a church up there?
Every church and everything up there. In fact, back in that day, buddy, we had electricity up there when they didn't have it nowhere down in here, and we had an awful good life. They had about anything you want in the store. If they didn't have it, they'd order it for you. And we really didn't have to go nowhere else to survive.
So you said your dad, when you was come down from Windrock, he built you a log cabin?
Yeah,
I guess you used coal to heat it with, didn't you?
cold, yeah, all of that.
Let's talk a little bit about this ball team that you played on when you was up in Windrock. Tell me some of the people you played ball with.
Well, the ones mostly was the regular coal miners in the mines up there. Was all buddies. We had 2 or 3 more that worked on there, but I can, if I can see them, I can give you every name on that team there. I can't think of them, but if I see the face, I can tell you.
Tell us the ones you remember.
This is Carl Keith,
Okay.
and that's me.
All right.
That's Troy Owens,
Okay.
and that's Wayne Morgan.
Okay. Now these are all men you worked with in the mines.
Yeah, they all worked in the mines. Troy didn't work much, but his daddy and them did. And that's Frank Russell that lived up in the coal, but he didn't work in the mines. And that's my daddy there, Odell Lively. And then starting back there, this is, I'll get him in a minute maybe. I'm losing it. I get a blank every once
Hey,
in a
that's
while.
all right.
I know
Take your
every
time.
one of them.
You're
real
doing good.
If I could just get
Was any prize?
that's Charles Jackson,
Charles Jackson. Okay.
Tom Rickett,
Oh, very good.
Okay.
and I know his name real well too, and can't say it. And that and there, I know him real well.
That's okay.
I can't say him right now. That's about all I can get off of that.
On this list that Pat gave me, she wanted me to tell you. She wants you to tell me a story about George Duncan when your twins was born.
Oh yeah, that was when the twins was born. I lived there by the side of him up in the lower camp there at Windrock.
Uh-huh.
And every morning when me and him was buddies in the mines, we had to have a buddy to work in the loading coal. And every morning he had a sliding window, and he'd be at that window when I'd wake up. He'd come out there to be sure that I got up, you know, and talking to my wife while she was cooking breakfast. But anyway, when the twins was born, I said, go up and get cigars. As I went up, was on a night shift. And I bought a box of cigars and took them on up there to mines and started giving them out. And the fellow said, well, George Duncan done been up here giving them out and said he had twin boys down at your house.
So George was claiming the twins, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I just put my cigars back and brought them home and smoked them myself.
Well, listen. Was there very many bad accidents when you was working up there in the mines?
Yeah, they sure was, buddy. And I've got a picture down there hanging on the wall in the basement there of all the men that was killed up there, you know.
Uh-huh.
But there was a lot of them that I'd go in the place where they was killed, you know, and see the rock that covered them up and everything.
Yeah. Do you know how many tons of coal were loaded in a day's time? And do you know how they kept account of the coal that each man loaded?
Yeah, I know all about all of that, buddy. I was real active in our local union with United Mine Work, and I kept up with it myself the best I could. I was a joy loader man, and I knowed how much a car helped, you know. And there was 4-ton cars, and I knowed how much each section loaded. I kept check of it. About 4 ton to the car, you know, and I know how many cars they loaded, and I could count it. And it seemed to me like they was getting about the most it would ever load would be 100 cars. That would be 400 tons. And they had 2 sections, so they're getting about 800 ton a day.
800 ton a day?
Yeah. That's after they got the joy equipment.
Right.
But in the meantime, before that, when I first went to work, we were hand loading. That's what we done up to the about 8 or 10 years before the mines closed down. They got the machinery.
Uh-huh.
But up to that, we was hand loading, and I went to work. I was getting 39 cents a ton to dig the coal out and load it. what they paid up there.
39 cents a ton.
Mr. Lively, did you have to shoot the coal?
They, back at that time, they did have machine coal and pit coal, they called it too. That was the robbing, you was on pit coal. But they would cut a place for you of a day. If you cleaned it up and got it ready, they would cut it. And you had to go in and drill your holes with an old breast auger and shoot it down. And that coal, you got 39 cents a ton for it. And you got 3 or 4 more cents on the ton if you're loading it with a pick or digging it off them pillars.
Uh-huh.
We call
Now, how
them pillars.
did, some people probably wouldn't know this, and I want you to explain
Right.
it. Some people probably wouldn't know this, so I want you to explain it a little bit. When you shot the coal down, it was cut, and they shot it down, you loaded it. What did you load it on, a wheelbar or something to take it back over to the cars, or how did you
No.
get over there?
I remember when you was in on this mine over here, this joy loader that they brought over there was a loader that was up at Windrock, and I probably might have run up there. So when I went over there as a night watchman, Children's mine, then Lonnie Bolden wanted me to go in and run that loader for him. So I went in there to run the net loader, and you know, you all had the motor and pulled a trailer on it. You loaded the trailer, but at Windrock we had shuttle cars,
Yeah.
and they held 4 ton in there. Then they got the cars out on the track, 4 ton. Each car would load a car, you know. So that worked out good that way.
Yes,
Go ahead.
who was the first supervisor up there at the mines that you ever remember?
Well,
Was you?
Condi, Condi somebody, but I didn't remember him now. He was there. The person that I remembered was Elmer Zink.
Elmer Zink.
Elmer Zink. Bill Dedrick, I reckon, was a superintendent maybe.
Yeah, Bill David. Did Burley Duncan, did he play on that ball team with you?
No, Burley didn't play.
Didn't play?
I know Burley real good though.
Yeah. I thought one of them guys kind of looked like Burley there. In that foul.
Burley called me about 2 or 3 days before he died.
Did he?
He had bought, when he come out of the Army, I sold him an automobile back in the early 40s, or, you know. And I had sold him one, and he remembered, and he called me, wanted to know what color that car was. It was an old Ford, what it was. But that hadn't been too long, that brought me.
Did you know Bill Pride? You remember him?
Bill was a mine foreman ever since I know up there. He was there when I went there, and he was there when I quit,
Yeah.
when the mines closed down.
He was there as long as I knew him.
He was a real good mine foreman. He come in there, buddy, and they thought you didn't have enough timbers and all. He was lifting your timber and everything. He was real good.
How big was that seam of coal that you all were working up there? Do you know?
Yeah, there at Windrock, it was about 4 to 5 foot. You could just bend over a little bit and walk around in there, most all of it.
Uh-huh.
And that was in the Dean seam. And then the old Windrock seam was the first one that they worked. And they worked it out, and I hadn't went to work then. That was before my day. And they had worked it out and drove a slope up into the Dean seam, and it was about a foot smaller than that one was. The Dean seam was. It was about 4 foot high.
So you started working in the mines when you were 16 years old?
Yeah.
How long did you work?
Well, I worked about 28 years, but I had about 2 or 3 years of it in the wagon mines before I went up there. And by the way, I worked for 50 cents a day in the wagon mines, but it didn't work long, I tell you. And then I went to work 39 cents a ton. It seemed like big money, you know.
Tell me about the wagon mines. I don't know what that is. I'm too young to remember what that was.
Well, that's one of these mines that just goes in usually just a little ways on the, we call it the outcroppings.
Uh-huh.
And you just drive it in there and it maybe about be 18 inches cold
Uh-huh.
or something like that. And you know you can't crawl in there and push a car and everything like that. So we drive the entry and dig bottom, take bottom enough to lay the track in it.
Uh-huh.
And drive it in that way. And then all you could do with as wide as the track was, about 6 foot, you could drive your place about 15 foot or something. And then you could get up on your side, on each side, where it's about 2 foot high, and lay in there sideways and dig coal out.
Uh-huh.
And then you could get back and have room to shovel, but standing in the track and run your shovel back in there.
Huh.
That's really digging coal back then.
Yeah.
You actually dug
He
it.
was, that fellow, Jack Payne, who it was, he was contracting for Austin Bailey. You all might know
Oh, yeah.
Austin. Austin owned there was a hauling the coal to Knoxville to them hospitals. And we'd dig out a load of coal and he'd buy it and take it over there, you know. And so Jack, I don't guess, was making any more money than I was. Had just a chalk eye, me and Dallas Patterson.
Besides George Duncan, who was some of your really close friends that you worked in the mines with? You remember people that you was really close to?
Yeah, the closest right offhand was Dallas Patterson.
Dallas Patterson.
Dallas, yeah. And then all them others buddies, they just all become awful close.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just all close knitted that worked in the mines together.
Let me see. Pat wanted me to ask you, did you ever lock your doors? And how were the door latches made?
Yeah, I told her that. That's when we moved down there. And my daddy had built that log house. Of course,
Uh-huh.
we didn't have nothing. We didn't have no furniture, what you might say. But the door, I don't know. I can't think about the doorknob how it was, but I know the door. Right on the inside, he had made a latch, and a latch up here that would fall down into that and lock the door on the inside.
Uh-huh.
And then it had a hole drilled in the door and would run a string through it out to the outside. So if you wanted to go in from the outside, you had to pull that string and you'd lift that up, you could go in. And then of a night, if you wanted it locked or nobody wouldn't get in, you just pull the string back out there. And let him know.
Okay, tell about Lowell Blanchard broadcasting the ball games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I tell them that like that. I said, Lord, they're announcing that, and he'd say he's talking about the pitcher. He stepped up on the mound, getting his signal from the catcher, and he looked back at second base. Then he turned and makes a wind up, and here comes the pitch. Bingo! Hits a line drive out to center field. So-and-so's are going back. He's under it. And bingo, he's got it.
Bingo, he's got it. All right, she wants you to talk about how you washed them quilts.
Yeah, that was here at what we call Cotan now. It's Piedmont and then Cotan and then Lower then Winrock. But it's Cotan. where they had that big mines there, you know, first. But we go around there and there's a big 4-inch line. It run full force out of that mines. I reckon that's what drowned them out in there. But that run full force, and we drank that water all the time. It's sulfur water. It tasted, but we got to liking it. And my stepmother there, she would get them quilts and all and go around there on that wash tub and couldn't do nothing with them. But she'd fill that tub up with water and put a quilt in there, and us kids would get in there and stomp with their feet. Stand in there and stomp up and down and wash them quilts that way.
Okay. Tell me about the hardships during World War II.
Well,
So you were in the Army?
I went to the Army. The hardships of the way what we had to eat and stuff like that. But along there, I'd say, I was there in the Depression and all. And before I went to work in there, my daddy had already went to work, was working in Winrock. But then I started to work up there, and we'd have to get up of a morning and walk from there. It's about a mile from there on up to the camp up there. We'd walk up to there to catch the man car up, and we'd go ride the man car on up, and it's cold and everything, and then had to walk about a mile from the tipple around to the mines, almost half a mile anyway. And we'd walk around there. And then when we went in there and loaded coal up to about dinner time and went to eat lunch, what we had in our bucket would 9 times out of 10 would be sweet potatoes and a cup of gravy and a biscuit. That was our lunch. We didn't have light bread and lunch meat and stuff back in that day. Couldn't afford it.
So you brought that stuff from home?
We bought that. That's what we eat for breakfast, and that's what they put in our bucket.
How long was you in the Army?
I wasn't in there. They turned me down.
Oh, they turned you down?
On bad hearing aid.
Oh, okay. Tell me something about some of the unions that you was in.
Yeah, well, I went through when they first organized Winrock Miners, and Mr. Lyles at that time, Walter Lyles used to be down here, you probably know him by heart, drove taxi. His daddy was working for the United Mine Workers, and he come to our house all the time up there at Cotan they're talking about, and my daddy helped him, and they all went to Winrock and getting the men's name signed up. And he went through it, and then I was union from right then on, and I served on it on up, and I'm still a member. And me and Roy Goodman, I was a mine committeeman, and he was the local superintendent.
Right.
And we went with Albert Pike, Bill Turnblaze, and all of them. We was in Kentucky at the time. And in fact,